the national tournament, NCAA tournament, when it comes to Big Ten teams, and also think ahead to some of the teams that are going to be joining the Big Ten next season?
Yeah, no, I think it was a really good tournament for Big Ten teams. And, so much was made of Michigan State being the only team last year to get to the Sweet 16. And you look at this season, Illinois in the Elite Eight. They lose to UConn. No shame in that. UConn is pretty good. And then Purdue making the national title game kind of excited the demons of the FDU loss and played just an incredible Elite Eight game in Detroit against Tennessee to advance. Zach Edey was pretty much unbelievable. Second highest scorer in tournament history behind Glenn Rice. And Glenn Rice's numbers were absurd back in the late 80s. He scored like 184 points, I think, in it would be 6 tournament games. So, yeah, unbelievable run, really good showing by the Big Ten. It was unfortunate that some of our teams got lumped into the 8-9 game because it's just – the 1 seeds were so much better, I felt like, than the 2s. And if you can get into the 7-10 or the 6-11, man, your chances to advance were so much higher. But Northwestern, Nebraska, the 8-9 game is tough. But to have 2 teams make it to the second weekend and advance the way they did, I thought it was a really positive tournament for the men's side of things in the Big Ten.
Robbie, what's how can I get Zach Edey's hook shot? How can I try to replicate? I mean, it is like Kareem-esque, and I know that is like a high comparison. But when I look at what he's able to do over his shoulder down in the paint, it is phenomenal.
Yeah, that right jump hook is his move, and with his size at 7'4", 300, but also the mobility that he has and the strength that he has, he moves people. He's like a glacier, like you can do whatever, but you're not going to move him. You're not going to affect him. And when he gets his right jump hook, it's pretty much game over. But I did think in the Tennessee and even early in the UConn game, he got to his left hand. He got to, with an up and under. He got over there. He's got a really solid low post game. And that was on display in the NCAA tournament. I just was amazed by the level of focus he played with. You could see how locked in that dude was. He was on a mission. From the time they lost to Fairleigh Dickinson last year to deciding to come back to school, he had one thing on his mind, that was get to the Final Four. They beat NC State in the Final Four, the first game there in that matchup, and then you run into UConn. I don't think anybody was beating them. Purdue had a phenomenal year, but UConn is probably going to be looked at as a generational team in terms of men's college basketball.
Wait, Robbie, did you just say that Zach Edey is 7'4"? He's 300 pounds?
I think so. That's what they list him at.
He carries 300 pounds well. Like, that dude does not look like.
He's probably got like a 6% body fat, they list him at 7'4", 300. Yeah.
Shoot, man. Sounds like an
a lot of body to kind of put that weight. That's a long body.
Well distributed. Okay. Anyways, sidebar. Sorry, Zora.
No, I love a sidebar. I wanted to go back to when Purdue secured a spot in the Final Four, because Megan, you and I were conversing about this. And Robbie, your clip that
I get to talk about this again. Love this.
Yes.
Oh, you've had to talk about it everywhere, I'm sure. I felt it.
We were texting. Zora and I were texting about it. We were so happy for you.
We were genuinely happy for you. Where does that emotion come? Like, explain to the people why, even though you weren't on the court that day, you deserve to be a part of the celebration of your Boilermakers making it to the Final Four. What overcame you in that moment?
First of all, Elliot Bloom is the director of basketball operations. He comes over and gives me a hug and says some nice things, and that softened me. And then Paul Lusk, who recruited me and is an assistant, he came over and did the same thing. That softened me even more. Then we had Coach Painter come on, and he did the post-game interview with us. And it was amazing to me that this is this guy's biggest win of his coaching career to that point. And all he did was deflect credit to everywhere else. He gave it to former players. He gave it to the players on this team. He gave it to his staff. He's just a selfless guy. And to hear him kind of credit, I guess I was one of his first recruiting classes, and he was very complimentary of myself, E'Twaun Moore, and Jawan Johnson. That was part of it, but then on top of that, just the years of frustration, right? Like, you understand the history of Purdue going back to the late 80s, where there have been teams that could have made it and have fallen just a little bit short. And I played on one of those teams where we're 22-3. We've got 4 wins over top 10 teams. 2 of them are on the road. 2 of them are at home. And you're looking like you're going to be a 1 seed. And I blow my knee out. Then Etwan and Jawan decide to come back. I blow my knee out again, first day of practice. So I've always felt a little bit responsible in a way for the drought. Because I'm like, well, we had a team that was good enough. And if I wouldn't have been shredding my knee, twice in 9 months, we could have had a team that goes to the Final Four. But we also, you look at that, you could also lose in the first round. You never know. But the worst part of it is the unknown of not even getting to play the games. That to me is the hardest part. And then you add in, I know how much those guys have put in, having lost to 3 straight double-digit seeds the last 3 NCAA tournaments. And to see them get over the hump, they've been on a mission all year long. It was very emotional. I'm a little bit embarrassed. I looked up at one point and I'm like, there's like 30 cameras. This is bad. This is bad. But I couldn't stop.
Not a sign of weakness.
Yeah, it was a soft moment.
No, it's emotional awareness. It's if anything, it's relatable, and you should not feel embarrassed, and you should not carry that weight. I'm sure.
No. I understand that, but you just it's one of those things as a player. How do you not feel that way? You when you want something that bad, and our team won. We stacked it up every practice. Final Four. That was the goal. It was in Indianapolis. Like, that was the goal for our team. And, when that happens, it's something that probably will never go away.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that you got to be there, though. That's amazing. Well,
I was professional until that moment.
Coach, yeah. As you should have. We were genuinely happy for you all.
No, thank
and
you.
I know we're not supposed to. I was rooting for the Boilermakers. To get over that hump in the title game. They started off strong. And
we've been through a lot. It's good now. Everyone can stop giving us a hard time about losing to a 16 seed. Or this is what you got to do. You take the pain of losing to a 16 with the guarantee that you will play in the national title game. They're 2 for 2.